good, y'all? Welcome back to a special broadcasting on the St. Lloyd channel. So, I just dropped a Basketball Stars 3 video. Make sure you go check that out. Also, right now, like, comment, subscribe, because I don't want you to leave and forget to do either or. So please do me that favor, like, comment, subscribe. But, back to the video. I told you in the Basketball Stars 3 video that I had a Scott Bessent video that I was working on. Man, oh man. All I have to say about Scott Bessent is that this guy, monotone and all, he is a smooth talker and he can slide away from silly arguments. These next clips are going to be a representation of his smooth talking. I think he was at a congressional hearing, and monotone and dropping bombs is nasty work. There's going to be little talking from me. After these last couple sentences, it's done. It's pure clips, pure video. Just do me a favor, like I said earlier, like, comment, subscribe, run the numbers up on this video, and also run the numbers up on that Basketball Stars 3 video. Enjoy the rest of your day.
I will tell you that the Biden administration exercised with regards to Russia and Ukraine support a big dichotomy. On one hand, they were giving aid to government of Ukraine. On the other hand, their sanctions against the Russian Federation were very, very weak. The sanctions were just against some of the lower-level oil companies. There was a price cap that has never worked. On his way out the door, in a fit of bravery, the National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, raised the sanctions because the Biden administration had been worried about upsetting the oil price, pushing up oil prices during an election year. The Trump administration, through our energy abundance and signaling to the energy markets, crude oil is down about 20% thus far this year, and I read with great interest this morning that Russian Federation revenues were down 12% last month, which will put a dent in the Russian war machine, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Bessent, this is the first time we've met. Is that correct?
No, ma'am. We actually met one New Year's Eve in the Bahamas. And I was...
He didn't make an impression.
Why don't I remember that?
Well, you were much better at the electric slide than I was. And I was with the Prime Minister of the Bahamas yesterday, Prime Minister Davis, who sends his regards.
Well, were you with my husband when he was the ambassador to the Bahamas appointed by Clinton?
So,
well, you're not going to like this. And so this is the first... I didn't remember that, but that's odd because you've been at Treasury, and I've sent you 5 letters to ask about what was going on under your leadership and only received a couple of cursory replies from your staff. Why don't you respond?
ma'am?
I guess you don't know why you didn't respond. Do you know the level, type, or nature of the clearances and security training required for individuals to access the information held in the computers of Treasury, IRS, or CFPB?
Yes, I do, and I think we would have a disagreement over the definition of the word unfettered.
Mr. Secretary, did all the individuals working with DOGE who were given access to Treasury's and CFPB's computer databases receive all of the required clearances and security training before they were granted access?
Again, they were granted read-only access at Treasury. There were two.
So let me just say,
DOGE employees.
Please, you can't filibuster here. This is not the filibuster playground. And so what you did was you let these strangers into our Treasury with access to all of the data, all of the personnel information, and you just opened the door. Why'd you do that?
No, ma'am. They were Treasury employees.
Oh, are you saying today in front of this committee that all of them were Treasury employees, that the 25-year-old who's being identified, who worked for Elon Musk, was allowed into the Treasury? Was that person there?
He was a Treasury employee, as was Tom Kraus, the senior person on the Doge team. There were only two people.
There were Doge employees also.
Sorry?
Do you know, were you aware that there were Doge employees coming into our Treasury getting all of our personal information?
Well, ma'am, there is no such thing as a Doge employee. There were Treasury employees.
I tend to disagree with you based on the information I have.
4 decades, we've had trade deficits in the United States of America, and nobody said it was an emergency? Democratic and Republican presidents? You know what that says to me? That it's not an emergency because it hasn't been for 4 decades. It says to me that we should bring tariffs back to the United States Congress so that we can make that determination as the Constitution has said and not try to go around Congress. That's just unbelievable to me. Let me ask this question. Maybe I'm missed it. Who was the president and who has been the president since January 20th, 2025?
Donald J. Trump.
Okay. And who was the president in 2024?
One believes President Biden.
One believes? You one of those non-believers that the election, the American people didn't vote?
I am not.
You're not? You said one believes? Do you believe in the Constitution of the United States and it should be abided by?
I believe in the Constitution of the United States.
So you believe in it without any second thought. You don't have to think about it. You believe in it and you would abide by it. Is that correct?
I have and I do, sir.
Okay. Well, do you know that a president has said he may or may not? He don't know? Let me ask this question. I couldn't believe my...
For 5 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I want to raise a point of order.
Yes, ma'am.
But I don't want the clock to be eating my time.
I'm sorry. Yes.
I would like for the witness to be swearing in before I ask my questions.
The chair doesn't see a need for that. You may ask your question. Your time can start the gentlewoman's time over at 5 minutes.
Secretary Bessent, you were on CNBC earlier this week making claims saying we are very close and maybe we will see some deals this week on tariffs. So tell us, tell the American people, tell small businesses and consumers, tell retirees, specifically which countries are you close to striking deals with?
I'm sorry, Congresswoman, but that would not benefit the United States.
No. I'm asking you a question based on the statement that you made on CNBC.
And I am telling you that it would be detrimental to the interest of the United States for me to answer that question.
Why would that be detrimental?
Because as the negotiations may still be in process as we speak, as we are not at the end of the week yet, I am sure that you, through your question, would not want to compromise U.S. negotiations.
Reclaiming my time.
Would you?
Secretary Bessent, the president goes into a press conference and claims that there are negotiations going on. And then the next day, there's no negotiations going on. So why would you not answer my question? And that will be considered detrimental to the American people, to the American economy. I do not understand. Despite your claim...
I'm happy to say there are negotiations going on. I'm not going to reveal the details.
No filibuster. No filibuster here.
So how long do you think those negotiations will take before they are concluded?
There are numerous countries, as I have said, if you saw my CNBC interview, which you referenced, that there are 18 important trading partners, and we are moving forward
Okay.
at all deliberate speed with those.
Do you consider these negotiations advanced negotiations?
Some of them are quite advanced.
So you expect this deal to be more than memorandums of understanding? You expect them to be full negotiated trade deals?
I believe that they will be the agreements in principle, and then we will paper them over in the coming months. But once we reach an agreement, then I am sure that the other countries will live up to it.
Okay. In congressional testimony yesterday, you said the U.S. has not started negotiating with China on tariff reductions. Does that continue to be your position, yes or no?
As you may have read,
Yes or no, sir?
As you may have read in the press, I will be going to Switzerland, and the negotiations will begin on Saturday.
Okay, so the president told you that that will be your answer today. So can you tell who from the Trump administration is engaged in those discussions
Which discussions?
with China?
Trade discussions?
Pardon?
I'm sorry.
Trade discussions, yes, sir.
Well, the trade negotiations will be led by myself and Ambassador Jameson Greer,
And,
USTR.
and what about Pete Navarro?
Sorry?
Peter Navarro.
He will
Is
not.
he-
He will not be joining us in Geneva.
Thank God for that. Are those negotiations considered advanced?
Pardon?
Are those negotiations considered advanced?
As I said, on Saturday we will begin, which I believe is the opposite of advance.
Secretary Bessent, as Treasury Secretary and a senior member of President Trump's economic team, has President Trump given you the authority to finalize any trade agreement with China or any other trading partner?
As President Trump has stated, he will have the final decision on any trade agreement.
So you're telling me all of these increased prices, the stock market losses, the production delays are all based on the whims of Donald Trump, that you could strike the best deal with Canada, Mexico, or even China that is completely in our favor, giving us everything the administration
Gentlewoman's
is
time has
seeking.
expired.
And if President Trump decides at any certain
Gentlewoman's
moment,
time has
for whatever reason, not to take the deal, that will be it. I yield back.
The gentleman from Oklahoma, Mr. Lucas, who is chair of our Task Force on Monetary Policy, is recognized for 5